Yeah, I'd like to start off talking about our O-line and our D-line. On our O-line, we have 3 or 4 guys returning on there. We have, of course, Kenny over here, Shinley. He's works his butt off, hard worker. That O-line and that D-line are very important, of course, for all of our games. It helps keep the defense off the field. Last year, we were very fortunate that we ran the ball for over 200 yards a game, closer to 240 something, and that was a big part with our running back and our O-line. And our D-line, we lost 3 guys, but we had a lot of guys rotating in with them. So we're very fortunate to have a pretty good O-line coming back and a pretty good D-line coming back at this point, which with the linebackers right now, we have Andrew Ike, and then we have Shane Nelson right here, and then we also have Austin Nelson, Shane's brother. And they really lead up the defense. And we have we have 2 or 3 good receivers coming back. We have both of our tight ends coming back. There will be a major fight for a quarterback spot. That's probably going to be the biggest difference. Secondary, we have 2 or 3 safeties coming back. One of our corners that started against Shadron coming back. And we brought in 10 junior college guys and 10 high school guys for the season. So, and have a great deal of respect for that guy over there. He was a great player, Jay was, and we look forward to seeing him on the 3rd.
Questions? Yeah.
You know, there really isn't that big of a change in the end. Coach Riff here has been the only coach that's been with us for 5 years, you know, and he's head coach before at other schools. He's head coached here. And, I mean, Coach Smith leaving was a shock, but really in the end it wasn't all that big of a change. I mean, we kept the same mentality on the team, and all the other coaches stuck around too, mostly. So, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much what Kenny said. You know, it's the way we kind of do things, schedule-wise or stuff like that, kind of changes. But our goals don't change. Our mentality doesn't change. We're lucky enough to get Coach Riff, who's been here, like he said, with us for 5 years, and our staff's pretty much stayed intact. So, you know, it's been a pretty seamless transition for us.
Well, there's a lot of paperwork involved in this. I like the football part. When I was just doing the defense, you know, you get a phone call, you pass it on to Coach Smith. Here, now you have to deal with a lot of things and the paperwork. I mean, you could hand it to some of the assistants, but I don't want to do that this year. I'd rather take care of it myself. Well, football's all the same. It's, you know, I think anytime you care about something, and then you want to do it, it's going to take a lot of time. Anytime you care about your players, it takes a lot of time. And each one, if they have an issue, takes a lot of time. You sit down and visit with them. It could be, you know, they could have a family problem at home. They could have a problem with their girlfriend. They could be becoming a father real quick or something along that line. So everything that happens in their life from school to their family is very important to us. And it may take you 2 weeks with one player. And when you have 100 of them, it starts to wear on you just a little bit, you know. But it's just part of caring. You know, we're all fathers, and we love them to death. I can't because Shadron's here. No, we do. Bo's good. He runs around. He has a good arm. I love him to death. He's a baseball guy. You know, he's kind of like a second baseman. Get the ball in and out of his hands. And then we brought in a transfer. A guy named Larry Cutbirth, and Larry's a good player. And then we have some other guys down, you know, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So it's going to be, we're not really going to have any time to, and that's what me and Jay were talking about last night. You don't have any preseason games to kind of, to try to tweak something or to, I mean, when we show up on the 3rd is what we have. And, you know, it turns into a major battle that way. And in the RMAC, you're not used to doing that. We have so many teams in the RMAC right now that most of us are used to coaching our guys, and we don't have enough scholarships for the most part to kind of reload every year. So some of them, you're going to be having freshmen and sophomores and all playing. That might be the first time, like Jay was talking about. And so you don't have a couple games to work on film with them, to get them a little bit better. We go right into the game, and whoever comes out of that game gets to move a little forward, and the other one's battling just to stay alive after that. And so it's a little bit tougher. You know, at the beginning of the game, it was high scoring. And then, you know, they came out, put a great game plan together, kind of kicked our butt at the beginning, And all I could do was tell our defensive guys, hey, listen, Jay and those guys did a great job over there. Salute them. They're doing a good job of out-coaching us and out-playing us. And then hang in there, recover. And then we did. And then towards the game, the end of the game, really, when they scored a couple times, we were just sitting in prevent, just let them go up and down the field. At that time, the clock and the score already predicted that the game was over. As long as we didn't make a mistake. If I blitzed them and went after him and did everything else, and he scored right away, then they're right back in the game. Well, I'm not going to do that. Yeah, Mesa kicked our butt, Pueblo kicked our butt, and then Mines kicked our butt. They did a great job, and you teach your players to be men. Those coaches do a good job of coaching, and those players work hard. Same thing with those guys, and sometimes they put a better game plan than you do, or they compete better. And you have to salute them. The year before, they had to salute us, besides Mines. And that's kind of the way it works. But they're great coaches. I have a great deal of respect for those guys.
Your first stint.
Well, I like it now because back then we played 2 Division I AA games every year. So the 7-4 is a little bit different than this 7-4. We only played 1 Division AA game. Here we don't have a money game, and we don't have any preseason games. So once you open up with a high caliber opponent like Shadron, a very good program over there and very well coached, if you wind up being on the wrong end of the win, then it's really hard to battle. You got to keep battling back. And then after a certain time, then you go to Black Hills, and Black Hills, they're going to play their butt off. And then you have Adams, and they're going to play their butt off. And then you got, it just goes on and on and on. And you got to keep your locker room together. And there's a lot of things going on. Having 12 teams in this league is really, 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 really hard. It's ridiculously hard. And so I don't. The 7-4, it was those guys worked hard. They did a great job. Coach Schmidt did a great job. The players did a great job, and it's just a new season. I don't know. There's nothing you can really look back and go, hey, we can take from that, because it's a new season. As soon as it's like week to week when you play someone. It's you beat Adams, we have to get ready for Shadron. And it's so everything's scary. You go out there and you're just scared to death as a coach, just that you don't want to let your players down, and of course the players don't want to let each other down. They don't want to let you down, and of course you want them to have the best year they can possibly ever have. But there's 12 teams. There's only going to be one top team.
All right, guys, we're out of time.